Let's see United States runs like a business.
Many people say the United States runs like a business, but that idea can mean different things. Here are the main ways people interpret it. 1. In some ways it does operate like a business. Certain aspects of the US government resemble how a large corporation works. Budget and revenue. The government collects revenue, mainly through taxes, similar to a company earning income. It manages a yearly budget, about $6 to $7 trillion in spending. If spending exceeds revenue, it runs a deficit and borrows money. Key institutions managing this include U.S. Department of the Treasury, handles government finances and debt. Internal Revenue Service, collects taxes. Departments function like divisions. Examples: Department of Defense, Security and Military. Department of Transportation, Infrastructure and Transport Systems. Department of Energy, Energy Policy and Nuclear Security. Each has budgets, leadership and measurable objectives, similar to business units. Leadership structure. The president functions somewhat like a CEO. Cabinet members resemble department executives. 2. But the U.S. is not actually a business. There are fundamental differences. Goal difference. A business aims to maximize profit. A government aims to provide public goods and manage society. Examples of public goods: national defense, public roads, environmental regulation, disaster response. These services often lose money but benefit society. Ownership. A company belongs to shareholders. The U.S. government belongs to its citizens. Decision-making. Instead of corporate boards, laws are made by elected representatives in United States Congress. 3. Why people use the phrase. When people say the U.S. should run like a business, they usually mean reduce waste, increase efficiency, balance budgets, measure performance. Some politicians strongly promote this idea, such as Donald Trump, who often argued government should be run more like a company. In short, the United States uses some business-like management tools, budgets, departments, executives, but its purpose is very different. It exists to serve the public rather than generate profit.
Maybe it's because United States government doesn't give credit to their people as owners of the companies don't give credit to their employees.
Your comparison touches on a real debate about how governments treat citizens economically. Citizens are technically the owners. In a democracy like the United States, citizens are often described as the owners of the government because they elect leaders and fund the system through taxes. The structure comes from the Constitution and is implemented through institutions like the United States Congress and the executive branch led by the President. But unlike a company, ownership doesn't mean direct financial payouts. Why governments usually don't pay citizens like a company pays employees? Companies pay employees because they produce goods or services that generate profit. Governments work differently. They collect taxes. They redistribute money through services. Examples include public education, infrastructure, defense, social programs. Programs like Social Security Administration and Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services redistribute money, but only to certain groups: retirees, disabled people, healthcare recipients, not everyone equally. Situations where governments do pay citizens directly. There are a few exceptions where governments act more like a company paying dividends. Example: Alaska. Residents receive yearly payments from oil revenues through the Alaska Permanent Fund Corporation. This is often called a resource dividend because the natural resources belong to the public. Modern ideas: citizen dividends. Some economists and political figures have proposed giving regular payments to everyone. Examples: Universal Basic Income (UBI), resource dividends, carbon dividends. One well-known proposal was promoted by Andrew Yang during the 2020 United States presidential election campaign. So your idea is actually discussed seriously. Some thinkers argue that if citizens are the owners of a country, they should receive a dividend from national wealth, similar to shareholders in a company.
So, in most companies, the owner of the company is the one that takes the biggest chunk of the profits, while the workers just receive a paycheck to survive in the daily life. So, if we live in a country where the government is run as a company, it means that the population is going to live a day-to-day life, and the government is going to be like a kingdom.
Yeah, that's a really powerful point. If a government were run exactly like a corporation with a focus solely on profit, then a lot of people would indeed just be living paycheck to paycheck with little security or upward mobility. And that's one of the big critiques of corporate-style governance. If it prioritizes shareholders or top executives, it risks neglecting the broader public. That's why a lot of people feel strongly about balancing efficiency with equity, making sure people have a fair shot, not just a paycheck. I think that's at the heart of a lot of these conversations.
Very funny.
I get what you mean. It's kind of a dark irony, right? You have this huge, complex system meant to serve everyone, but if it were run purely like a business, you could lose that broader sense of fairness. It's a tricky tension to balance, and one that a lot of people are still trying to figure out.
The people in power don't want to figure out anything because the first needs of any human beings are treated like a business. Housing, healthcare, and even the food that we eat.
You're expressing a critique that many economists, philosophers, and political movements have discussed for a long time. What happens when basic human needs are organized primarily through markets? Why essentials become commodities? In countries with strong market economies, like the United States, many sectors operate through private markets. That includes housing, food production and distribution, large parts of healthcare. The idea behind this system is that competition and profit incentives encourage innovation and efficiency. But the downside, as you pointed out, is that markets allocate goods based on purchasing power, not necessarily on human need. Why this creates debate. Many thinkers argue that some things should not be treated like normal market goods because people cannot simply choose to go without them. Examples: housing tied to stability and safety, healthcare tied to survival, food basic biological need. Economists sometimes call these merit goods or basic public goods. Different countries handle this differently. Some countries rely heavily on markets, while others treat these essentials more like public services. For example, Norway and Sweden use strong welfare systems and universal healthcare. Canada provides publicly funded healthcare.
The observation is actually one of the central arguments in modern political economy. It's about whether a society prioritizes profit efficiency or universal security when dealing with the things people need to live. Should basic human needs depend on market participation, or should they be guaranteed as rights?